And welcome to game number 1 of the CoachHemi.com showcase. I am Jonathan Hemingway here at Riverdale High School in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Glad that you're joining us here. About midway through game number 1, got a great lineup of individuals and talent here in the gym. We're watching SUV TV, and joining us on the mic now for a little color commentating is the one and only Brandon Clay. Brandon, glad that you were able to join us here today.
Man, it's such a blessing to be a part of events like this, man. And you're doing a first-class job. This roster, this lineup, it's just unbelievable. You see Alexa Middleton, like she's a McDonald's All-American. She doesn't have to be here, but she wants to come get that work. It's awesome, man. It's just awesome.
Well, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. And, you know, like we talked about in our pre-camp introductions, you know, the theme was really just quality. You know, not only do we have quality players in the building, but we've got quality instructors. You know, you see over on court 2, Christian Simmons, Adrian Penland up top, Sean Sanford, you know, really working. To your right, Stephen Peck, you know, there, you know, doing eval. Stephen Ely out there at half court. Just quality top to bottom.
Well, you know what it is. Anytime you can get those kind of guys and you bring that first-class organization to your event, good kids want to be a part of it. You've done that, and you know, I think even more so on top of that, providing an outlet and a vehicle that doesn't necessarily have to be college coach windows. I had a great conversation yesterday with Eric Ellington, who runs boys events at Swanee Sports Academy, and that's what we were talking about is how do you generate a circuit of events that provide quality exposure for kids, whether they're college coaches there or not. When you have Stephen Peck in the building, Stephen Ely, you're guaranteed there's going to be no shaky video.
I think you're absolutely right, and you're on to something right there, Brandon. But let's go ahead and talk about the players here on the floor. You mentioned Alexa Middleton here with the ball right now. Boy, she is she gets that one ripped. Nice steal right there by Mallory Myers. Coming the other way, Shanika Hurd. But in addition to Middleton, you know, opposite of her, you're talking about Jackie Young, number 84 there in black. Made the trip down early to get some extra work in with Christian Simmons last night. Talk about Jackie Young as a prospect, Brandon.
It's been interesting to watch her game grow, and too, just to watch her fill out. I actually had an opportunity to be on campus at Louisville for their senior night, and she was also on hand. I actually have a story about that coming on ProspectsNation.com next week. She's gotten longer, her ball skill is rounding out, and she really is a really great complementary wing player. You know, you talk about a kid that can do everything. I watched a young man yesterday named Jalen Brown who plays at Wheeler High School in Georgia, and Jackie Young has a lot of the qualities that Jalen Brown has. Good size, good speed, good athleticism, good skill set. Maybe not elite in any one area as you see her there take that contact, but very good across the board. And you're seeing that parallel. And Brown is a top 25 guy in his class in the country, and we project the same, for Jackie Young.
That's a good analysis right there, Brandon, of being able to compare, you know, these young women to the young men on both sides of the ball. You've been fortunate having you, Brandon, to be able to reach out and start now covering the boys' side of the game of basketball.
Well, no question. I think, and have always thought, even back to the days of Lewis Williams and those guys in the Atlanta area, that there was a need for somebody to be able to tell the story on both sides of the basketball at a national, if not international level. You even look at the influx of, you know, Canadian young men, or even a Dante Exum from Australia who's coming over to the States next year in the draft. And it's the same thing on the women's side. It's no different. The Froling sisters who will be going to SMU next year. You see Middleton with that great pass, Neely Carter. We'll get back to her in a minute. And so that's really what we've aimed to do in terms of the schedule that we have. And you've been obviously a great help with that, attending Hoop Hall, arguably the best high school boys event in the country, and if it's not, it's City of Palms, and I was there, and you know, just going back and forth. But you see the parallels in style of play and skill between the girls' side and the boys' side, and frankly, it makes both sides easier to cover the other.
Well said there, Brandon. But back to the game here. Alexa Middleton, Alex Johnson here, 2015 post player, 198 there in white from Blackman High School. Finishing well around the basket, Brandon.
Well, that's what she does. Let me touch on Johnson for just a second. I really like her ability to make plays. You know, she's facing up a little bit more here today. We project her, you know, as a forward. Great finish there from Young with the pass from Patberg. We project Johnson as a forward who's able to come in and make plays, whether that be catching and shooting. She had a 3 early in the game. You saw where they're posting, you know, twice in a row, once for the lob and then once there for the direct feed, even though she didn't get the touch. She brings a lot of different things to the table, and that's a kid that I think is going to wind up at, you know, either a power conference school or at a top shelf school like a Middle Tennessee State, who just won their conference tournament yesterday. No, they've been recruiting Johnson as well, and she should be an impact player at schools like that. Definite 4-star prospect according to Prospects Nation.
We had one of our first looks, you know, up close last year at Alex Johnson. Actually about a year ago, nearly 365 days ago in this very same gym. Christian Simmons had put on a camp similar to this, you know, last year, and Alex, you know, really came in and showed what she could do. What she has done, in my view, what I've seen in between now and that 12-month time period, is the fact that she's added that range on her jumper. She hit one earlier in the game, and but just continues to be that workhorse 4 player.
Well, just comfortable. You know, I think that's the word that I would use to really describe where she is as the ball player. She just seems extremely comfortable right now making those plays in the half court, even facing the bucket. I'm going to make sure we touch on Ansley Eubank, who just finished in the black a second ago, number 13. And that's another kid. You talk about a progression from a year ago. This time, sister is going to be playing next year at Lipscomb. As you see her line up that long 3, just hits the front of the rim, but her game really has grown, both confidence and to her body, just skill coordination. A lot of those things are starting to round out for her, and she's becoming the type of player we would have projected after an eval here last year.
Without a doubt, Ansley Eubank, number 13 in black right there. Always an energy kid, a gym rat too. Nearly any time you walk in the gym as Alexa Middleton, no days off for this kid.
Man,
she was in the gym. Excuse me, Brandon. I've got to say this.
This is incredible, man.
It is no accident, and a great shot there by Young. It is no accident that Middleton comes in and lights it up. When I drove from Atlanta to Murfreesboro, I got here around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Middleton was in the gym. I went to church this morning. Excuse me, hang on. After our boys event last night, Middleton was in the gym shooting with Christian Simmons. I go to church, I come to Riverdale, Middleton's in the gym shooting, and now she's here lighting it up once again. It's not an accident, Brandon.
I had to grab Stephen Peck's shoulder. He's on the right of me, just out of the view of the camera, I'm sure, man. She hit that 3 so clean. She's just so good. I mean, her ability to make the open shot time and time again. And at this point, she really has learned how to create space. I actually sent a tweet out on social media, on Twitter earlier today, where I talked about Middleton's game and, you know, a kid like Allie Patberg, you know, playing in this game right now, and her having the ability to have a summer like Middleton had last summer. You know, that signature game at Battle on the Borough last year with the Cal Sparks, I thought really cemented her reputation as a potential McDonald's All-American, and now she's in that game, and I think that Patberg will have that same opportunity over the course of the summer. So to have those two starting off Patberg's senior summer on the same floor, I think is great.
Again, well said, Brandon. We'll take a short break and pick it up in just one moment here on SUV TV, broadcasting live at the CoachHemi.com showcase.
That Derrick Rose flick to the rim, the 3 off the bounce.
Hey, let's go ahead and blow it. Let's go ahead and get it going.
When I just started yelling that Drizzy get the first hard. You got to run after you stand for a minute. Like right when y'all finish. Black ball this way. Cool, because we're going to chill for like an hour. All right. Well, you don't see me, girl. You see me. That's all right.
No.
No, that. I don't even know who she can tell.
Yeah, she was from A game. They're coming to the second section here. And we're back here for the second half. Game number 1 at the CoachHemi.com showcase. Starting us off, Shelby Gibson there in black.
She's tough, man. I mean, real size in the post, a willing rebounder, willing scorer. I think interesting watching Pat Burkdale in that possession. I think that's a shot that if she'll get to the point where she takes that there, you know, we don't advocate the first pass 3 like that, but she's such a good shooter. If she gets to the point where she's able to knock that down in transition, very similar to what Notre Dame expects when Michaela Mabry catches the basketball, she's going to give them a really versatile option, them being Coach Muffet McGraw and the number 2 ranked Fighting Irish.
Yeah, Brandon, let's talk a little bit more about Allie Patberg. You mentioned, you know, her in the first half, standing there, number 79 in black. Point guard, you project her primarily as a point guard at the next level. She's already committed, and Alexa Middleton is putting on a show here today, guys. But back to Patberg, currently ranked number 22 as per ProspectsNation.com. Do you project her primarily as a point guard at the next level, or is she a kid that can play both on and off the ball?
Man, look at that pass. Right on cue. Thank you, Allie. You know, I think that she's a kid that can play either. I think her natural position is going to be with the basketball in her hands because of her ball skill. But I think the way the game has changed, you know, you look at, and the NBA, I think, sets the tone because of the skill level of those guys, right? You watch a Manu Ginobili from San Antonio be a secondary ball handler for years now when he's healthy. And I think you can see Patberg doing that. They'll have Lindsey Allen on the roster from 2013. She'll be a junior at that point. Michael Johnson will be a sophomore. They're going to have a lot of different pieces. And I think now you talk about how it moves. Gino Auriemma, the Olympic coach, is playing 2 point guards together in the same backcourt this year, Mariah Jefferson and Bria Hartley, starting the 2 of them together and literally just getting up and down the floor. I don't care which one of you gets the outlet, y'all go. Eric Bledsoe, Chris Paul last year in LA before the injury. Eric Bledsoe, Goran Dragic this year for Phoenix. So a lot of different ways to play multiple point guards, multiple ball handlers. So I think that Patberg fits in that category as opposed to a point guard who can't make an open shot. Now she can only play one position.
Very well said. And if you look the West Coast, of course, in the 2014 class, UCLA is very much doing that same thing with Jordan Canada, Race Caldwell,
Yep.
2 top 10 point guards in their class, and you would, you know, conventional wisdom would say, well, you have to take one or the other. Coach Corey Close over there saying, no, we can do that. We can take both of these elite level point guards and play them at the same time.
Well, and I think, especially with the injury bug and just illness, things like that, all the variables, you want to have 2 point guards that can play at that level. And as long as both of them can make shots off of the basketball, you can even run single doubles, you can run double staggers, you can do stuff on the off side of the basketball to keep them involved, you know, even inside of that 30-second shot clock.
Good point. Middleton off the strong hand, can't get it to go. Eubanks going to come up with the rebound, bringing it the other direction.
Oh, nice handle there. Felt the pressure. Eubanks just playing well. That's a great example. Nothing flashy, but is able to evade Middleton's pressure, then get her body in front of the defender and still be able to make a play. Finishing my thought on Patberg, I love what she's done. If you look at her frame, she's much leaner now. Not necessarily less weight, anything like that.
Yeah.
Just a leaner frame. She's stronger. The definition in her shoulders, very similar to some of the changes and transitions you see in players when they arrive at the collegiate level. She's already doing that. It reminds me a lot of, you know, Alexi Brown in terms of the way that her body has changed from her senior year at North Gwinnett. In Brown's case, maybe even a little bit bigger at Maryland, but her shoulders and just the body definition. Patberg's done a heck of a job this season.
Agree 100% right there, Brandon, talking about Patberg and the way that she's thinning out, becoming, you know, much more of an athlete. I remember seeing her up in Nashville a couple of years ago, and what really struck me about her with that, I believe she was playing with the Damon Bailey team at that time, was she had good size, she could see the floor, you know, very fundamental. She's really coming into her own for sure these days. Let's transition right here and talk about number 66 here in white, Chastity Lee Carter, doing a great job here today of, you know, being an athletic presence on the floor, but surprisingly doing a good job of passing the ball on the interior, off the pick and roll. Talk about her as a prospect,
It's
Brandon.
funny. That's really what Carter likes to do. You watch her and, the immediate airport test is you're thinking wing, slasher, scorer, shooter. And though she has those things in her game, she really is a kid who wants to facilitate, get others involved. In that regard, reminds me a lot of Jordan Adams that plays at USC as a high school prospect. And I think Carter scores it a little bit better even right now as our camera, the internet, everything takes the hit. Hey, that's okay, Deja Maxwell. We can appreciate the hustle. Look at Alexa Middleton, even serving the assist. Her new nickname is Cliff Paul from State Farm, man. But no, finishing that thought on Carter, you're seeing her play the point here. Middleton playing off the ball as they get a little horns look, and then she makes this open shot from three. So she really does have the complete package where she can shoot it, even though day in and day out, you probably expect her to be more of a facilitator, but she's just a great versatile wing prospect.
Without a doubt. You talk about kids and a good power dribble there by Shelby Gibson, and she sticks with it and sticks it back. Talk about kids, once again, in that same frame of mind as an Allie Patberg that can play both on and off the ball. Chastity Carter definitely showing her versatility in that way, and you have to think, regardless of what college program she ends up choosing, she's going to be able to defend really the 1 through 3 on a nightly basis.
No question. Which is, as you see, a fly to the rim there. I like that left-handed finish too, even though it didn't go down. You're just watching her skill set progress. You said the ability to defend multiple positions. I had a guy years ago, James Nichols, who coached the Team Unique program. Monique Curry had some great stars come through during his time there in the DMV area. And he said the three, Brandon, is about being able to defend 3 or 4 positions as well as play offensively 3 or 4 positions. A lot of times kids and prospects want to be a legitimate 3 player, a high-level 3, but they can't defend multiple positions, and that definitely is not an issue with Carter. She can defend the 1 through 3, and quite honestly, once she hits the college weight room, even a matchup 4 at some times, if you want to change the way you look, go zone, put her at the top of a 1-3-1 odd front, even maybe a stretch 1-2-1-1 press. You can just do a lot of different things with a kid like Lily Carter.
Without a doubt, nice drive right here by number 8. That's Shaniqua Hurd, unsigned senior, actually played here at Riverdale High School. Getting some work in here today, not only against some top competition, but some exposure, possibly on SUV TV. To still go ahead and find that college home for her.
Hey, anytime you're on SUV TV, there's going to be a lane for you, man. You watch her and her development, and I remember when she made the move up here from the Atlanta area, and her game has really grown playing every day with Middleton, Shelby Davenport, the kind of kids, the caliber of kids who are here. You can really see the transition in her game. Nice move there by Young off the bounce.
Boy.
Everything but the finish, taking the contact from Johnson. And that's what we meant with Young. Very similar in that regard to her classmate Carter, though I think Young is a little more active in terms of her opportunities looking to score, where Carter is a little more facilitation oriented. And it'd be a great combo for a school to have.
I remember Jackie Young coming up to Bogan Park. She was, EBA All-American, when we still had that camp running. But as a freshman, she came in, she was a little wide-eyed, a little bit, anxious. And now to look at her, she's grown a little bit, much more confident, really growing into her own. Glad to see that she's becoming everything that we thought that she would be.
Well, and it's amazing, obviously time changes and progresses. All-American camp will be reinstated this year, assuming the NCAA has a fall live weekend. Young already has an invite for September 27th to 28th. She already put that on her calendar, and we'll be glad to have her back. But, that was a year where, Kayla Davis, Diamond DeShields, Taya Reimer were all involved, 3 of the top 4 kids in the country in that 13 class. And so now to see Young becoming one of those kids playing at that elite level is a special thing, especially for somebody like myself. When you put your heart and soul into the project, be able to see it pay off and then watch the kids that you project and that receive those invites go on to attain such accolades as she has.
Boy, it's been fun this year, Brandon, hadn't it, watching women's college basketball. I guess from our standpoint, a lot of Georgia kids that are out there. You mentioned Kayla Davis at Georgia Tech. Diamond DeShields at North Carolina, Lexi Brown at Maryland,
Yes.
and the list just goes on and on. You've got to think that, that type of energy, enthusiasm, what we're trying to do with Peach State basketball and ProspectsNation.com, introducing, the fan base, to the stars of tomorrow, even a year or two out, it's really a special thing.
No question. Well, it is something when you go back to that whole boys side discussion, those things have been done. You look at the TV schedules and nice shot there by Johnson. Some of the different things that have happened on that side. You're introduced to Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins, Julius Randle. You're introduced to those guys as high school players, so you follow their story. Now, I feel like this year with Brown, with Davis, with DeShields, even a Mercedes Russell at Tennessee, Reimer Russell and Reimer obviously in different positions because they went to places, where they already had talent at the positions roster-wise that they're going to, where Davis and DeShields were both able to step right in, Brown as well, and make major contributions on day one. It's been neat to watch those stories start to play themselves out. And fortunately, everybody's been able to stay healthy so we can continue to watch the story unfold.
Good drive right here by Pat Berg. Finds Young on the drive and the finish. What a great game right here that we have, Brandon. The black team up, Jackie Young and Pat Berg up 52-39 right here.
Well, it's been good basketball. You see, once again, the unselfishness. Pat Berg attacks, maybe has a quality look, but doesn't have as good of a look and a finish. Another shot there from Johnson. And we talk about summer stock rises every year before I finish that thought on Pat Berg. I remember watching Brooke Copeland last year in the spring, who's going to Florida, couldn't be here today. Rachel Bell, who is here today, and thinking, hey, those are kids, there's another pass. Pat Berg just gets into the teeth of the defense. And Alex Johnson can have that type of impact this summer playing on the same club team that both Bell and Copeland played for with Tennessee Flight. Let's watch Pat Berg go to work again, John.
Bringing it up, right hand, dishes it, gets Carter to jump, and boy, she is an assist machine here today, really bringing her A game. Been exciting to have Pat Berg here in the gymnasium. Let's talk about 196 here, 2016 prospect, Riley Potts, Harpeth Hall High School, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Riley is a kid that actually has an older sister, Kennedy, that will be staying here in the Nashville area, signed to play for the Lipscomb Lady Bisons next year, Coach Greg Brown. Talk about Riley and her game.
We got to make sure we shout out John Wild, too. Now, John Wild and Greg Brown, you can't mention one without the other. Potts has really done a good job, I think, of transitioning. I think, what you would like to see, that's a great post up there, finish with the left hand. It's almost like these kids have wires that they can hear.
They're eared in with us, yes.
I really think over the next 12 months, if she can make a progression with her game, similar to what Johnson's done here today, where she can hit, maybe not even the three, but that 15 to 17 footer consistently. I love the fact that she knew she had to match up with Eubank, attacked it, Eubank comes right back to shoot the three out of the corner. But I like what Potts has done, and I think that she's only going to get better over the course of the next 12 months. But adding that consistent face jumper, very similar to what you want to see Shelby Gibson do, 190, is only going to make her a better player long term.
Potts has that one thing that you can't teach as she knocks in that short jumper, assist to Middleton. The length, you can't teach that. You can teach footwork, you can teach even enhanced strength and quickness at times. But definitely a different type of prospect and player than her sister. Kennedy was much more of a wing player, even a point guard later on in her high school playing days. Potts is that four player, can play some on the wing. And Middleton continues to put on the show. And previously Ansley Eubank with a nice shot fake jumper down there.
Yeah, Middleton's ability to get downhill. That's the word we want to use. As you see Pat Berg there, get downhill. Take a nice tough 15-footer there. I like that. That's actually something I saw a young man do yesterday named DeMarcus Simons out of Beaufort High School, 2016 grad. And when kids like Pat Berg, like Simons, can get downhill and make a play between 12 and 15 feet, they become really hard to guard.
Gibson can't get the post move to fall.
That's good, though, with Johnson guarding it. For her to make that move, that's big time, John.
Nice pivot right there. Gibson's coming along. Always had the soft touch, but the footwork, that's what I've noticed here. especially being able to make that footwork in traffic is really illustrating the development that she has had.
I like that move there by Pat Berg as she calls for the high screen. Now, one thing that we've talked about here recently, we even talked about last week with Taya Cooper and Kalaya Robinson, 2 top 25 kids at EBA top 40 workout, is we want post-to-guard high ball screens. Guard-to-guard ball screens allow them to simply switch, and most of the time you're getting the same type of defender guarding you. If you can go post-to-guard, now you've got Shelby Gibson on the roll with a guard trying to guard her, and you've got a post trying to guard you. You've really created a matchup problem for yourself. So watching young kids and then being able to talk to them about a train of thought, and that's one of the things that we'll mention to Pat Berg inside of the break. If you're going to call that on the fly, which is a great call, make sure that you're getting a big little mismatch in the course of the call.
Without a doubt, Brandon. And one of the things that she is able to do, if you try to play under that screen, she's going to be able to hit the jumper, as you see right here. Changes it.
Oh, nice.
But the vision, Hurd can't get it to fall. A lot of similarities between Eubank, Johnny on the spot, so to speak. The similarities between Middleton and Pat Berg are certainly there. But that concludes game one right here, 60-50 in favor of Pat Berg's team. We'll just call it team.
Call the black team, black squad, man.
Team Pat Berg right there. That'll close us out for game number one. Make sure that you join us for the rest of the day here at the CoachHemi.com showcase. I'm Jonathan Hemingway. He's Brandon Clay. Until next time, this is the SUV TV.
Hey, Pat Berg. If you're going to call for that screen, it's got to be big on little. You call for the screen, you got a guard-to-guard switch. That doesn't, I mean, it's the same person defending you. Like Middleton, another guard, her. I mean, it's the same person. You'll get a big on little. So Shelby Gibson now, the big kid on your team, now has a 5'7" kid trying to guard her in the post. Always big to little on the high ball screen. Good job. Team three right here. Right here. He's like, yo, man, I came all the way over this way. Man, I feel you, but damn me down.